Hi there, my name is Haley Aldrich, and I am a student leadership consultant in the Office of Student Engagement. And if you're watching this video, it is the Student Org 101 Finance and Travel Workshop. So this workshop is going to go over a general overview of finances and any finance-related items for student organizations, and is going to be specifically very helpful for any treasurer, whether a new treasurer or a returning treasurer that needs a refresher, or anyone that hopes to be a treasurer in the future and wants to get ahead on knowing this stuff, or any other e-board member that wants to be up to date on exactly how the finances of their student org works. So we are going to hop right in and give a little overview of what we'll be talking about today. First, we'll talk about the status of student org travel, then we'll hop into treasurer duties, actions, and resources. So first of all, the status of student org travel. What is it right now? That is a great question. It's a little bit up in the air due to the pandemic and ongoing challenges, but we want to make student org travel happen. So we are evaluating on a case-by-case basis just because the requirements might look a little different, whether you're traveling outside of the county, outside of the state. So in order to answer this question fully and see if travel is possible with your student org, we ask that you set up a request to travel meeting. And you'll set up this meeting with the student travel coordinator in our office. And you can do this by either coming up and visiting our office on the third floor of Campus Center. We're located in Egbert Hall 325, or you can call our office at 607-274-3222. And just a heads up, we are asking that you set up that meeting for 8 weeks before you plan on traveling, just to give us enough time to reach out to different resources, pull other people in on this project, and give you a set answer to make sure it can happen or not, and then plan the logistics that come with that. So moving on to treasurer duties. Overall, the most important duty is that the treasurers adhere to the Office of Student Engagement's fiscal policies and procedures, and make sure that the inflow and outflow of money is all good and approved. They are the individual that should be in charge of making all transactions for their student organization. And the reason that we ask this is so that it kind of streamlines the process. So if there's a transaction that has a problem or we need to follow up and have some questions on, we're not tracking down 5 students from your organization. We only need to go to 1. So it is important that the treasurer is the one to approve and make all student org financial transactions for that reason. Additionally, it makes it easier for the treasurer to maintain records and track every income and expense made by the org in one place, which we'll go over a resource that will help them do that in a little bit. Additionally, they oversee funding requests to student governance, council, and other departments for funding sources, which we'll get into. And overall, they provide regular financial updates to their other e-board members, just so everyone's on the same page of how much is available to spend, how much they can spend going forward, and what they should be expecting to be receiving from fundraisers or things like that. So every student organization is eligible to have their own account, and with an account comes a specific account number. So the way that you access your student org's account number is through IC Engage. So I'm going to stop sharing the PowerPoint for a moment, and we're going to hop over to IC Engage. So if you log on just to the dashboard, the landing page of IC Engage, what you can do, I'm going to show you with an example of one of the student orgs that I'm in, IC VoiceStream, is you will click on it. And since you are an e-board member for your club, you'll have access to this manage organization icon up here. So you're going to want to click that and then go over to the hamburger menu on the top left-hand side and scroll down to documents. You'll click into this finance files folder, and then every student organization will have a document that looks like this. Account information updated is what it will be named. So you can go ahead and download that. It'll pop up in a new tab. And this is what your account number is going to look like. So the specific information for IC VoiceStream's account is these 5 digits. These 5 digits are going to be specific and different for every student org account. So these are ours. Yours will be different. And then the other things to note are these Y values and X values. And those will help show us how you're spending the funds and where they're coming from. So we'll start with the Y values. The rest of this document is really helpful in kind of breaking down and giving examples as to what these mean. But the Y values indicate what kind of funds you're spending. And so there are two kinds of funds. There's IC funds and there's raised funds. IC funds are indicated with an O1 value, and they are any funds that are gifted to or allocated to your organization from somewhere else in IC, whether that's Student Governance Council or a department or somewhere else. If they're not funds that you worked to raise on your own, they are IC funds. And so if you're using that, you'd put an O1 and these first two values here. The other is raised funds, and those are indicated by the O2 values. And that means any funds that you actually worked for and put on a fundraiser and raised, or you got admissions tickets for an event, those are count as raised funds, and that would be indicated by an O2 up here. Then these X values show us how you're spending the funds. So we have our breakdowns and some codes right here. So say you're going to advertise an upcoming event and you want to get some posters from the IC print shop. You will be able to put in the 7361 value into the X values right there, because that is the corresponding code for the IC print shop. So please feel free to reach out if you have any questions about that. But this is a great resource that's available to all student organizations to help interpret and understand the account number. All right, we'll get this bad boy back up. So we went over that. That's just another example. Another resource that we have available for all student organizations is the org account record keeping spreadsheet. And this is an Excel document template that is uploaded to every student org's account at the beginning of the year. And I will show you what that one looks like for VoiceStream as well. So it's going to look like this, and you can download it by hitting this right here. I'm just going to go right there. And so this is what it's going to look like. It could start blank, or it could start with, if your organization has any rollover funds from the previous academic year, those will be listed up here. But basically what I recommend is the treasurer at the beginning of the year downloads this file from IC Engage, saves it somewhere on their laptop, and then anytime, or their computer or whatever, anytime a purchase is made or a donation is made, any expense or income, they log it on this sheet, and it's going to total the balance and then give you the total available funds that your org has to spend. So even if, it's going to be a while until you get to see what your account statement looks for the next month and you need to know how much you have, keeping up with this is going to be a great way to do that. And then in order to make the transition easier for the next treasurer that comes in the following year or semester, I recommend just re-uploading this file back to your Engage page by hitting Add File right there. All right, and another resource that we're making available for students is everyone will be getting an account summary updated and uploaded to their Engage page on a monthly basis. And so to help interpret that, there is a resource available called the Org Account Summary Guide, and it will look like this. It will be a PDF that you can download from your Engage page, and essentially it's just going to help you interpret all of the crazy numbers on that account summary. So this is what the first page of the Excel document will look like. Up here is where your specific 5 digits in your org's account number will be. And then here is where the name of your student organization's account will be. And then right up here will show the total amount of IC and raised funds remaining in your account that are available for spending. So essentially that's the total amount of available funds for your student org. And then down here are the other tabs to kind of break down the IC and the raised funds for the rest of the sheet. So up here, this indicates that this page is just looking at IC funds that are available for your student org, and those will be visible right up here in this top right-hand box that's highlighted in green, and that's the total amount of available IC funds for your organization. So if you don't have any IC funds, it's going to say 0, or if you've recently made a request to SGC or somebody else for some additional funding, that's where it would show. Then, as you could guess, the next page would be raised funds. So that shows up here. The O2 is that we're looking at our raised funds. So the value 8 up here shows the total available amount of raised funds for the student organization to spend. And then down here, the 9 and the 10 mean something a little bit different. So we'll go to the next page to show you that the 9 reflects the amount of funds starting in the account at the beginning of the academic year. So that could be rollover funds, or if you made an SGC funding allocations request in the spring to apply for the beginning of the following fall semester, that's where they would show. And then the 10 represents any income that has been received, deposited into the account to date from the beginning of the current academic year. So that's what the breakdown of these two green lines means. All right. So next we are going to move on to treasurer actions. The biggest thing that treasurers are going to have to do is use the spending request form. And this is a form on IC Engage that allows students to tell us how to access and spend and use their student organization's account funds. So students won't be able to go directly into their account. It's not like you just stop at a bank and you kind of can withdraw or use an ATM card or things like that. This form is kind of the way of going about that. And so with this form, there's several things you can do. You can request to hire a student to work at an event. You can request to pay an invoice or contract. You can do a purchasing request. You can reimburse a member for funds or something that they paid for out of pocket for the student organization. And you can donate raised funds. And a new thing that is being introduced in the spring of 2020 is you can ask to reserve a credit card. So we'll get a little bit more into the credit cards later, but to just give an overview of the difference between purchasing requests and credit cards, previously we asked that all student organization spending be done through a purchasing request, where you kind of fill out a spreadsheet of what you want and from where, and one of the people in our office will go through and order it on your behalf, and you just pick it up in our office. We are still offering that option. However, to just empower students and give them a little bit more independence, we're also offering credit cards that can be reserved using this form, and they will indicate the day that they'd like to pick up the credit card. And if it's approved, they will get an email notification on the day that they requested it. They can pick it up in our office on the 3rd floor of the Office of Student Engagement, and then they can use it at multiple vendors throughout Tompkins County. They will have to make sure that all purchases are non-taxed, because we as a 501c3 are a tax deductible institution. We can't pay tax. And then once they return the credit card, they'd return it with all of their itemized non-taxed receipts, and we would log that and take that funds out of their student org's account. Students are not allowed to use the credit card for Amazon purchases or Staples, but can use it for, Target, Walmart, pretty much anything else. But we are recommending that if students want to do a grocery order or a Wegmans Meals to Go order, that they continue to do that through the spending request form. All right. And if there are any questions on that, the spending request form, credit cards, purchasing, whatever, there is a separate purchasing workshop that is offered through our office that I recommend you attend. Those dates and times and how to sign up are available on IC Engage. So the next thing that treasurers are responsible for is depositing funds into their student org's account. So the way that they would do this is you can just go into any browser and Google Ithaca College Student Organization Deposit Slip, and it'll bring you to a PDF that you'll complete. You'll fill out with the proper information. And then what you're going to do is print out that deposit slip and bring it up to the CFCU office on the 3rd floor of Campus Center with your check or cash or whatever you're depositing. You'll give it to the teller and they will deposit it right into your student org's account from there. If you'd like a copy of the deposit slip as a receipt, they are more than willing to give that to you, or you can print out an additional copy. And just check on their website too to make sure that their hours haven't changed due to the pandemic or any other reasons, so that you know what times they're available for you to deposit. So in addition to fundraising, there are other funding sources for your student organization. Certain departments or entities across campus will allocate some funds or are able to gift some funds to students that go through their individual process. They have specific information on those processes and how to go about that on their website, but some examples for additional funding sources are SGC, RHA, academic departments, and then again, fundraising is always a great option to raise more revenue for your student organization, or you could put on a event with another student organization, so you're pulling from both of your student orgs accounts, and it's a little bit bigger of a pot of money. All right. And so student governance council, like we talked about on the last slide, they are a huge resource if you're looking for additional funding. And their office and their funding process is separate from our office, even though our two offices work closely together. But if you have any specific questions about the funding request, please email sgcbusiness@ithaca.edu. Or another helpful way to go out and find the information yourself is to just type into any browser Ithaca College Student Governance Council and go to their website. And this is what their website will look like. And they have a funding tab right here that kind of breaks down, what types of budgets, what the appropriations committee is, how to learn more about the funding process, things like that. So I recommend you check that out. Next is treasurer resources. So we have many resources for treasurers. The biggest one is our office, because we are here to empower student organizations to do as much as they want to and they can during their time at IC. So we have a lot of information on our website. Everything that we've talked about today is housed on our website, and we'll go over what that looks like in a little bit. But we also have us, the people that work in the office, student leadership consultants like me, who have office hours or are able to be reached over the phone. And are always happy to help you navigate the system and answer any questions you might have. So again, you can visit us on the 3rd floor of Campus Center, you can call our office, or you can email our office at ose@ithaca.edu. And to just give you a peek at what our website looks like, you can type in Ithaca College Office of Student Engagement and it'll bring you to our website. And the probably best way to navigate to these helpful links is to go to student clubs and organizations. The policies and procedures tab has a lot of really helpful information. A lot of this information up here is very pertinent to treasurers and their processes and responsibilities. If you click into spending student organization funds, it will give you a credit cards for student organizations tab right here. And so that's where to find out more about spending and specifically the new credit card process too, if you're not familiar with that. Awesome. All right, moving along, we just went over our student organization policies and procedures tab that laid out all of that helpful information. There's also ways to access student org funds as one of the tabs on that page. And so this is all of the different ways that you can use that spending request form that we talked about to access your student org funds and do whatever you'd like for your student organization. Additionally, under our office, everybody is educated on a general level about student org finances, but there is a finance and travel team of people who have just gotten a little bit extra training and have a little bit more knowledge on the finance process. So if you have any questions, feel free to set up office hours with us. Again, you can visit our office, call us, or our finances specific email is orgfinances@ithaca.edu, which we are constantly monitoring and usually get back to you within 24 hours and would love to answer your questions there. Again, we went over the SGC website. That is a great place to start. And then IC Engage, that's where you can find a lot of helpful workshops and resources, such as the student org's account number and record keeping spreadsheet and account summary spreadsheet. But it's also just a good way to find other resources and workshops to help you become a better eBoard member, student org member, and best leader across campus that you can be. If you are on the eBoard, you're automatically signed up to receive Club Hub, which is a bi-weekly newsletter only for student leaders across campus for their student organization. And so everything that's going to be in that newsletter is going to be related to student organization. So check that out for any finance updates or new news that hits there on a bi-weekly basis. And then finally, you can follow us on social media. We'll also be posting updates there. You can follow our office at OSE_IC on Instagram, and SGC if you want to keep up on the funding process or have any questions about that. Check their Instagram for any updates at ICSGC. But that's all I have for you today. If you have any questions, again, please feel free to reach out. We're always happy to help, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.